I wore this at the end of the last video, and well, no, the video I haven't seen yet. We've built, anyway, whatever. And I do look like I'm, like, getting ready to play a game of golf. It's okay, though. What I was going to say is we've been watching a lot of YouTube recently, and we went to re-watch our videos, not in a narcissistic way, just to check everything was okay with them. We noticed, one, that the colour was off, and two, that the picture quality was really low. But obviously we were recording 4K, exporting 4K, all these things. So we worked out that when we were uploading it to YouTube, they were rendering it down or lowering the quality, compacting the file, whatever. We think we've worked it out. So I'm really sorry for the picture quality on the last two uploads, and the fact that you said nothing is fantastic. Well, it's not fantastic because we didn't know what was happening, but thanks for just bearing with us. Pictures, just me today, because I'm the person who takes pictures. Austin's doing packing, and my most frequently asked question is, what is your photo setup? And I have recently changed my photo setup. For the first time in probably about 5 years, I have moved away from my original photography setup, which is pictures like this. I've kept the wall hanging the same, and I will show you that later on. But I have changed the smalls, you know, like shoes, accessories. I have changed the setup to that because we have this new studio that we film and do the live shows in, to free up some space in my office where I take the hanging pictures. I have replaced our classic white table with a desk, so I can actually do some work in there, and I do my accessory pictures now against this white wall. Now I don't obviously want this in, I obviously don't want this in, but I'm very particular about my photos, very particular. So I'm going to walk you through it and talk you through it. Now I want you to be clear, everyone to be clear, this is not how to take photos or how to take eBay photos, how to take Vinted photos. This is how I take them. So you can do whatever, anyone can do whatever they want. You can maybe take a little few things from it, you might take nothing from it, you may just want to know how I take my pictures. My hat's really annoying me because I feel like I look like a trucker. But I'll walk you through the reasons why I do things and reasonings behind it. But first, a haul. So we picked up a few things today, and I'm going to use those as examples for the photography, like showing you the photography setup. In this section, in this studio, we have all our storage over that side, which and we do our live shows here. So in the studio space, we have where we do live selling, which is where I'm situated. And we want the biggest live selling space that we can have because, well, firstly, we're two larger people. We're not like, I'd love to be a tiny slipper thing, but I'm not. So we need lots of space. We need space to like store the clothes. We need space to, when they've sold, to file them away correctly, you know, all that fun stuff. So we need as much space as possible, and we have these 3 pillars, which you're going to see in a minute in here, which we normally, if you've seen the live shows, we have product on, and I use one of those now as my photography area. Now I actually got the idea from someone else, I know, isn't that where all the best ideas come from? Someone did a Whatnot show, and they just took pictures of their items to like in a pre-list, and they had them on pillars. It was like a mirrored pillar or something like that, and it has shoes on it, and it just looked, it made the shoes look almost editorial, like almost like a Vogue, like a, you know, like a, you were looking straight at those shoes, because it made them seem like they were on a podium, you know, when you put someone on a pedestal, like it was literally like that, right? And I was like, I'm stealing it, 100% stealing it. I didn't know how I was going to steal it or when I was going to steal it, but I have sold it. So we have our white pillars, and I take pictures on that. I will give you examples later on of what things look like in the final like finish, and I'll make it as like, not user friendly, that sounds silly, but like as easy as possible, because there's not really anything to it. It's just I'm very particular for very certain for certain things, which almost when I think about them sounds silly, but it does make sense, if that makes sense. But first of all, because I picked up some things. Have I already said that? If I already said that, I'm so sorry. Picked up some things. We're going to use them as examples for photographing. Now, the hard goods that I'm going to show you, I have got some boots, which I'll probably show you too photographed. But we picked up 3 hard today. And we never, just to clarify, we never pick up vintage toys or video games unless they're for personal use, because Austin collects retro vintage games or vintage video games, whatever. And I do like a Wentworth puzzle. I'm addicted to them. But one thing I do collect, although they're not on display at the moment, is my Polly Pockets. I love Polly Pockets. For anyone who doesn't know, Polly Pockets was like my memory. Everyone has a toy that they remember. Polly Pockets was mine. And our favourite charity shop in the world is closing down. Insert violins, because it is really sad. But everything was half price, and they get loads of really good collectibles in and things like that. I haven't cleaned these at all, which I probably should have done for a photography video, but we move. So I saw this in the cabinet, and it came in a bundle with 3 other things, which I'll also show you. So this is the Polly Pocket bubbles. I think they call it bubbles. Like the clam is replicating bubbles. It does need cleaning. We've got the gold inner. Bluebird, obviously. Bluebird are who make Polly Pockets, and this is 1998. Now they made several in this collection. They also did a pink one, and there's other I call them like the translucents, and I'm trying to collect them, but you don't really see them a lot. I don't see them in the field a lot, if that makes sense. You see the little houses or the solid color clams. And this would have had a pump on the end. It would have had a pump here. A lot of them, they are missing. If you get this complete with the figure, the bath towel and the pump, then they go for, you can get over £100 for them in really good condition. And just a clam like this without this pump, you're probably going to get like 30, 40. It is a good one. So it is the bath time scene. So you got the mirror, you got the little shower up here. If anyone loves Polly Pockets, then you'll love seeing this. If you don't like Polly Pockets, I'm so sorry. And this is a musical interlude for that. Little wardrobe, put your clothes on. And then you get the bathtub, and this, you can push this, and with the pump that would have been here, there's like a magnet thing here. I can't even remember exactly how it works, but it makes a bubble bath. Anyway, how cute is this? So cute. I'm keeping this in my personal collection. I have got to clean it, but I am keeping that one. But I thought these ones came with it, so they were £10 and everything was half price. It was 5 for the 3. So I want this, even as in this condition. It's still a £30 like clam, in like, what would you call it, naked form. But if you had any of the bits, we got, and then the rest were Mighty Max, which is the boy version. Polly Pocket. This one is 1992 Bluebirds again. This is one of the minis. It's missing the layer. With these, I find with a few of them, I don't know much about Mighty Max, so don't at me or anything like that. But a few of the smaller ones will have like layers to them, so you could take the layers out. So this would have had a layer coming out, so it gives like a gas mark feel, but it does have its figure. So I can say that it has its figure, with its figure, because people are selling this without the middle part, which I assume gets lost a little bit, like 10 to 15 with this. I'm not really interested in keeping it, so if anyone wants it, let me know, but I'm probably just going to pay out for like 15, 12 pounds, take an offer. This one apparently is worth money though. This is, I hate these by the way, I just think they're so creepy. Boys are so strange. You're looking for the MM, which is, you know, Polly Pocket, Mighty Max. But the boys ones tend to be a bit more like gruesome. This is 1994. It has got a special name. I will insert it on the screen. I don't know much about anything like this, but I do know that these ones are selling in this condition for like 80 quid. So that's my fiver pack, right? Which I didn't buy it for that, and it is just like it's great that it's worth that, because it came free technically, because I would have paid a fiver for it. I can't open it. I don't know how to open it. Boys, you know, I don't know how to open this. I know that clips open, or this pulls out. I didn't break it. There's a figure in there. That figure in there, that's his feet. People have sold that on its own in America for 90. I don't know. Someone has sold one of these complete. The only thing I'm missing is Mighty Max himself, the little man. People have sold these complete for 200, but I'm not looking for that. I just want to, you know, someone who's looking to collect it. I like that, just to go to a good home, because I got my Polly for free, but I will photograph that. It was just part of the haul, right? And then we went to a dress agency local to us, which dress agencies, for anyone who doesn't know, or you're American or Australian or wherever you're from, dress agencies in the UK are like consignment stores. So they take your goods in and they take 50% of the sale price, and you get 50% of the sale price. A lot of resellers use them. to sell their high-end stuff for them, which I can hear can be successful, especially handbags, etc. if they've got a customer base. Our local one is lovely. We know the lady very well, and she had a little bit of a sale on, and she always gets great stuff in because of where we're situated in the world. But these are 3 pieces that I got. Oh, 4 pieces. I got 4 pieces. Yeah, 4. Sorry, I was thinking to myself. This one is just this is a toast. Black dot is sample, red dot is sale. So when you see the black dot on the tag here, it means it was part of their sample. They do a lot of sample sales where they sell sample products. Red dot means it was in the sale. Sample sizes are normally 8 to 10, but sometimes you can get lucky. This is a full length. I'm not going to show you very well because Austin's the tall one. This is like a full length duster. Can you see it? No, not really. It's a full length duster. I'll show you it when it's on the wall. Full length duster. Someone sold a size 10 last week for 150. I'm gonna take any offers over 100. We do pay up on these because obviously it's a dress agency, so average price is £35 a piece about of what you're gonna see, but I think individual price it was like 98 in the sale, I think. So that's a wool coat, which I will show you when I take a picture of it full length. We also got Suzanne. I'll put the labels straight in the corner. These are a really great size in, like, I'm calling this pumpkin brown because it is the season. They're just a pleated, oversized, tailored, tapered trouser. They're just a great size, whether you're gonna, sorry, trying them on, whether you're gonna cinch them in or just wear them flat like that. These are always gonna sell great. And although the price averaged out, these are like 24, but although the price averaged out at 35, comps are still sitting very comfortably on this style for over, there are some at 80. I'm happy with anything over 60, 60, 70, and we can just double our money up on these ones to make the great profit in the other things, if that makes sense. Like almost like a loss leader, but not quite, because you're still making great money. I got some Oscar size 2. I thought they were bigger when I bought them. Regular fit, side fastening, which is undone at the moment, but these are denim. These are the classic denim. I'll show you them on the wall. I know this is awful. Denim barrel pants. Classic, what you're looking for from Oscar. These are $2.30 retail, £35. These sell for 100 really easily. And I also got some Terry Macy. I will show you these pieces on the wall properly in a minute. This is an older piece. It's got the older label. So you got Terry on that side, Macy on that side. I'll show you the label you're looking for and the most common label on the screen. This is 100% wool and it's dry clean only. Now this, I think this is beautiful. This is like a herringbone check pattern. You've got the statement button on the front, which is a lady's face. You've got the 3 buttons on the back. You've got, it's incredibly oversized, incredibly. Then you've got the double button in the middle, which doesn't really do anything. You see that? And then on the back, it's pleated. Look at that. Look at me stretching. It's pleated all the way down, and it's fantastic. I think it'd actually fit me, but whether I try it on is another thing, isn't it? But this on its own was 50, but obviously as an inclusive piece it was 35. This doesn't fit me, but it could be cute, like you could wear it open. Wearing this for the rest of the year. No, I will take it off. 35 is really good because retail's high on these and they sell very quick, and I think this style is particularly nice. Like, it's very wearable, it's very oversized. It's just a really special piece. So I'm going to aim to get 100 back on them. So return on investment, really paid 140. 140 all said and done, and return on investment should be about 360. That's double. It's more than double. It's good. So I'm going to use those as examples because I literally picked them up today. First, I'm going to show you the pillar here. Okay. First, rules of engagement. White walls. I am a white wool connoisseur. I've used white wool since the beginning of the time. Not right at the beginning, but white wall was established pretty quickly. Basic rules is it's blank. I know. There are, I call them high volume resellers that use grey. And I know why they use grey. They use grey for editing, so you don't have to edit any of your pictures. It basically neutralizes the light, so you can just snap, point, upload. Now, for high volume selling, and if that's the route you want to go down, it is very efficient from that perspective. However, I personally, it's just my personal preference, think white looks cleaner, it looks more aesthetic, and we eat with our eyes, right? If I'm shopping for a certain item, now it's not really compliant when we're talking about Mighty Maxes because you're looking very, very specific. But if I'm buying a grey, that Philip Macy that I just showed you, on a grey wall or white wall, it's going to stand out much more on the white wall. Now, do I have to maybe potentially put in a little bit more effort with editing, etc.? Maybe. However, I do believe that if your room is efficiently lit, then in most cases you don't have to edit anyway. I think in all circumstances, if you can have a well-lit, sunlit room, then you're winning. So if you've got like huge French doors, if you've got a conservatory, the only rule of thumb is the light. From personally, I'm not a photographer. I'm not taking any courses. This is based purely on trial and error for the last 100 years. Is the light has to be behind your product, or in front of your product, however you want to say it. So I'm photographing on this wall, the light has to be behind me as a photographer, not behind the product, because if this was like the conservatory window, it's just going to absorb all the light. You're not going to see your product. It's pointless. In not all cases, but I'm saying, like, if you want like the best of the best, right? If the light is behind you, it's the same applies when you're taking a selfie. Okay. Same applies if you're taking a selfie. You want the light to be reflecting at your face. So in most cases, you can go back through my Instagram when I was a young'un. If you stand in front of a window, that is going to illuminate your face. So you want the window in front of the product. If you have a window behind you, in any picture, in a sunshine picture, in a holiday picture, you will just become a mass of darkness. It will absorb all the light out of the picture. So my biggest recommendation, if you do have a conservatory or you're photographing in somewhere with big, huge windows, try and do the opposite side of so you're facing the window. Do you get it? Feng shui. Anyway, that's that in that circumstance. If your room is well lit in the sunshine, then I truly believe that is the best light to photograph in. However, there are multiple things that come into play. Most people, not all people, but most people, me included, photograph mainly at night because that's when I'm most free. Ideally, I'd love to photograph all day, every day in the morning, but it's not always feasible when you're doing other things. So that light from the natural light windows becomes null and void anyway. And then you're just gonna, if you haven't got studio lights, you're just working from a upper light bulb, and then it's not gonna have the same effect. Also, overcast days, rainy days, winter periods, like there's so many factors that play into natural light, and if you're able to control your light, then you can photograph at any time of the day. That, like, it's as easy as that, essentially. I try not to make this the longest video on earth, but I know it's going to be, and I'm so sorry. But I'll try and get faster. So, and also naturally, white reflects light, black absorbs light. So if you're working with a white room, it's gonna shine. It's gonna shine like a beautiful thing. Now, I use 2 softbox lights. I'm gonna insert a picture of them here because you can see what they look like. Oh. I use softbox lights. Some people use ring lights. I think ring lights are not great, right? And I will tell you why, because there's reasoning. Because some of my most favourite resellers and some of the most efficient, best resellers use ring lights. It's a fact, right? But here's why I don't. Because I want to fill the room with light. I want to even out that light as much as possible. And that's why I like sunlight, because it fills the room with light. I want to spread the light. I don't want to focus the light. So when you use, not all the time, this is just an example, when you use maybe one softbox or you use one ring light, especially when you film videos, say you're doing a live show, for example, or taking a selfie, and you have a ring light, most like TikTokers, you can see it in, it shines all the light at their face and then the rest goes dark, right? When you're taking a picture of a product and you're focusing that light in, it encourages shadows. Now, if you're using the grey walls, etc., so on and so forth, there's less of an issue because the grey neutralizes that. However, when you're using white or any other color, or if you're just using a natural setup, etc., it focuses the light. Whereas if you use, for me, if I use multiple sources of light, it fills the room with light. So you eliminate your shadows, you eliminate your just like colors you don't want in there, you know, your discrepancies, if you will. So I use 2 softboxes. Now, my softboxes aren't great examples of efficiency because I've had them for about 5 million years. One looks like a demigorgon and one looks like, no, that one's hanging on, but this one, it doesn't even stand up straight anymore. So that's why I'm not showing you them, because they're just not very efficient. I have to like make them look efficient for efficient purposes, but I need to buy some new ones, don't at me, right? I'm a reseller, I'm tight. 2. Now, it's very different when I'm filming a video to when I'm filming a product. So in a minute, I will place them. One, if my podium is here, I want one either side. Doing clothes on the wall is different, and I will explain that to you later. It is a little bit different because I want the light to focus on 2 different points. But in terms of product, I have one either side of the station. I place them about 1 meter away from what I'm photographing, so it's not an intense light on the subject, if you will. I have the ceiling light as well, because that fills that top of the room. That's almost feels like, I mean, ceiling lights aren't like an efficient photography light based on the fact that they're not made for that. That's the only reason why. So they tend to fill the top half of the room, unless you've got one of those like ultra massive light bulbs that goes, they're not that, the energy efficient light bulbs aren't that great. And spotlights can work as well, because you tend to have more spotlights. So if you've got like a spotlit living room, that's what they tend to do on more modern houses, isn't it? So if I was just to use that, I'm going to show you later in the other room where I do my clothing photography, but if I was just to use that, you'll find with the product, maybe I'll show you in a minute, with the product, then it's just, you're just going to get like a glow over it. It's not going to illuminate it. And essentially you want that product to look at the best it can physically look. Think of it like taking a selfie. If you're just lighting one side of your face, or just lighting the top of your face, then it's probably not going to be the most flattering thing to the bottom half of your face. Whereas if you're illuminating all sides, you can look like a supermodel. And that's what you want to do. So we got light coming from this way, light coming in from this way, light coming in from this way. That's the key. If I could have more softboxes, I probably would, but from the same perspective, I don't want 1 million softboxes in here. Ideally, the best setup I've ever seen is softbox over the top, 2 softboxes at this side. But unless you're set up commercially, and you want to invest in that kind of rigging, then you just have to make do with 2 softboxes. You can get panels of lights. I find them very similar to, I did buy some recently and test them out. I do find them similar to ring lights in the focus lights, but once again, if you're using a grey background, etc., that will neutralize that light, so it probably will be quite efficient if that's what you're into. And obviously it's always going to be personal preference, but we do get a lot of questions about our lighting. One other thing I will say is, without all 3, none of them work. That's my personal opinion. I think unless you're working on a small scale, then 1 could be efficient if you're in a smaller space. But if you're, if you're trying to optimize your light, then 2 is the perfect thing. Another thing I have seen people do, which I think is really fantastic, is when they're selling homeware, especially. I think clothing's a bit hard if it's patterned, if it's colours, whatever background you're going to put it in. If you're going to put it in like a natural setting, whether it's hanging on the side of your wardrobe or laying on your bed, then that whatever the background is going to take away from that product. You want the product to be seen in this best possible light. The reason that Vogue and editorials and magazine shoots exist, and like adverts on the telly, and models and influencers exist, so you can see things in their best possible light. If we both got the same product and I have spent 25 years hanging mine on the wall and taking a picture of it, and yours is on the bed, like with not steamed, or it's just laying there on the bed, the customer more likely is gonna purchase or ask more questions or engage with the product that they can visualize themselves owning or visualizing themselves wearing. Now that's when I said I am gonna show you that, and that's where I think homeware sellers really excel, when they can place the items in their own home and then take a picture. I would probably personally I would add like a couple of variations on a white wall, on like in a studio setting and in the house, like depending on which one you want to do. But I think one of the most amazing things that still gets me to this day is when you're in a charity shop and you see a piece of homeware, and in the charity shop it looks like nothing. You take it out of the charity shop and put it in your home, and it's like the most perfect thing, because it's situational, it's perception. So if I think it's Mermaid and Farmer on Instagram, I got that wrong, I'm so sorry, I'll put it up here. She did an experiment, I believe it was a while ago now, where she she set up like, I don't know, it was an ornament with a book, and both sold or something like that, because you visualize how it's meant to be and how you can use it, and it's almost like giving visual styling tips. However, I know with clothing, most clothing sellers are selling on a sort of like a, not a bigger scale, I mean I think that's wrong to say, but like if I was to style every outfit with like boots, a cardigan and like a hat, if I don't have it, it's just a lot of work. Whereas a lot of people have homes, and if they have homeware, they can place it in their home, if that makes sense. Have I been talking forever? Am I not very good at this? So yeah, I think I've covered most bases of how I feel and think about photography and photographizing. I did love my past setup, so it is adjusting to this new setup, but I will try and I'll turn the camera around and show you the lighting situ. I might try it with on the tripod. Let's see. Okay, thanks for sticking in here, love you. So bearing in mind this is on vertical, not horizontal, so you're this way instead of this way, which I would normally take the picture in. I also only take the picture in square mode, which I'm showing you here, because it's the most compatible with all apps. Square mode. Please do square mode, unless you're doing stories. Now, this has got a little bit more shadow in than I like. It's nighttime now, it's like 10 p.m. So there's a little bit more shadow here than I would like. When it is nighttime, I am taking pictures. I do close any blinds to reflect any glare, but there is a tiny bit of shadow which I don't like. I've got the two soft boxes, one pointing this way, one this way, and the upper light. Now, if I was to turn off this softbox, you're getting that. So you're creating shadow here. You're also creating a bit more texture to the column itself, which I think is distracting in my personal opinion, although it is not like, it's not like the worst thing that's ever going to happen in the world, just to clarify, and you can get rid of that in the other ways. If I turn the other side off, that's just, wait for it to adjust, that's just the top light. So you're getting shadow all on the product isn't illuminated at all anymore. You've got shadow all across here. This shadow, which I wasn't liking anyway, is just like the most shadow thing in the whole of Shadowland now. So you can see that's just from a normal standard bulb. I think that's actually very interesting. I don't know. If I was to turn this light back on and have this light off, you see all this side is completely dark, and you're getting the shadow across the product here. If this is like teaching you to suck eggs, I'm so sorry, but I just get a bit weird about these things. You asked, I'm here, okay? Whereas if I turn this light back on, okay, and you're getting a bit of a reaction now to, wait for it to light up. See, now it's fully lit, so you still got that bit of area that I don't like, but it's very minor, and I can edit it out, and I'll show you how I edit out in a minute. You're getting a bit of reaction because the lights are so close to the whatever it is, frames per minute, or whatever magical thing that they do is. And then what I would do with this is I would photograph it in. I would take these off, obviously. Let's take that one off. I have long arms to do this, you know. Right, so the front of the product is here. I like to start with a jaunty angle. Just as the cover photo, that's my personal preference. Now, you obviously don't have to use a pillar. This is just like over the top and unnecessary, but hello, welcome to my life. But you can see it sort of draws importance to the object. But I have originally had a table, and I love the table. I still love it more than this, but we are where we are. I do front, I do side, jaunty angle, side, front, back, bottom, top, and then I will open it up, which I don't know how to do, and then do any of the focus points. But I will go closer to the pillar for that. I dropped his head, man. I will go closer to the pillar for that. I wouldn't bring it towards me. The only time I ever put it in my hand like this is to show scale, because some people like scale, especially with handbags and shoes. But the same would apply with shoes. That's not a shoe, but you can see where I'm getting at. If you needed a closer image of that as like a cover photo, then you can. But we're talking about lighting over anything. Are we not? Maybe we are not. For example, you're off thing, because I've done it to suit the camera. But that would be a shoe, for example, and I think that looks really quite beautiful. And I will show you how I edit it down to get the best colour out of it as well. Should I leave clothing for another video and do this and then do a part 2? I don't know. Let me ask Austin, because I want to show you the editing I use as well to really get that as crisp as physically possible. Right, so this is actually taking the photo. So you can see here, this is using an iPhone. All I use is an up-to-date iPhone with the best camera capabilities. And that doesn't always necessarily mean you need the newest, but whatever. So I change it there to square mode. I click on the size of the photo and click on square, which will take it to 1:1, which I don't know what it means. I don't know what that means, but I know it's square mode. And you can see that that is the frame in which your picture is being taken. So just for this photo, you can see I'm taking, you know, various types of photos, clear photos, upfront photos, but I would normally obviously take pictures of both the shoes, back, front, and you know, all the shimmy, but you can see there how I capture it to miss out the plug and all that sorts of fun stuff. So taking the pictures and they're in square mode. You've already seen how to do that. Now if I screen grab my phone, you can obviously see what is in my recents on my albums, which is okay because it's a Home Alone hat that Austin sent me, a pot of La Mer, and some videos we were recording, so we're all good there. That's that Mighty Max though, if anyone cares. Yeah, Nautilus with some emojis of £200. I don't know. Anyway, back to it. Oh, how did I get out of that? So this is the picture I just took in square mode. So you can edit, if you've already taken the picture and you've taken the picture in what I call, Austin made me laugh right before this. It looks like I've been hysterically crying, but honestly, it was so funny. You can't do it. Right, so if you have taken the picture as a portrait and you want to put it into your phone, if you want to edit it, I'm trying to think and talk, edit it into a square, you can do that by clicking the you click, wait, what did I just do? So I press it, edit on the picture, you put crop, and then you press that button at the top there that looks like an abstract painting, and then you can put into portrait or you can put it into square. I obviously already took the picture in square, so that would do absolutely nothing. But if you took it as a normal picture and you want two types, then you can change it afterwards, but that's not what we're here for. So click on edit. You can see the time is 1 minute past midnight. We do not sleep. And what I do, it depends on the picture. Sometimes the picture doesn't need anything. I find if it's a red, it's a pink, it's an orange, it's a yellow, then generally there's no need to do a filter or highlight the colour. Now, it's not a filter to like make it look better. It's a filter to eliminate the excess shadows if you have any, or to brighten the actual colour of the boot. And for this example, the boot isn't that black. It's actually got a blue tone, which we want to bring out a little bit, because I actually think the blue tone is what makes it so lovely. But with blacks or any color like that, there's always going to be a discrepancy, especially with white. So I always just go straight to Vivid. Vivid's the first filter on the, I don't know, the scope of filters. So we've got Vivid Warm, which obviously gives it sort of more of a sepia type tone. Vivid Cool brings out the blues in the picture. Dramatic makes it a little bit darker, and then so on and so forth. Whereas Vivid, if you go back and forth between normal and Vivid, which should be on the screen now just to highlight, I'm not just talking and not showing you, but that's normal. And then it just highlights those whites a bit more, takes away the harsh lines, any excess shadow you might have, and it brings out the highlights of the shoe. Now, you still can't see the blue for me in this. This is an example of quite a tricky customer, if you will. So I go to adjust, which you can do all the different, you can exposure, you can do brilliance, you can do highlights, shadows, etc. If you've got some harsh shadows you really want to get rid of, then you can adjust your shadows, contrast, brightness. Sometimes I use brightness if it's a particularly dreary day and you need a little bit of something, but in this case, we do not, so I take it back down to normal. And then contrast, so that if you fiddle with contrast, it should bring the hue of the color of the boot out a little bit while maintaining the white background. So if we take it too far, it's gonna brighten too much to the point where it sort of like loses its refining features, if that makes sense. So I just take it down a little bit so you can just get a hint of that blue, or that navy in this case. And then I'll repeat that. I don't like to fiddle with too much at all, because I want it to be, and you want it to be obviously, as close to the original as possible. Some people will do vibrancy or brightness to try and make bright colours appear brighter than they are, darker than they are, lighter than they are. But that's not the objective here. The objective is to actually get a true sense of the colour of the shoe, because it's a very dark blue, as you can see, as opposed to alter the picture in any way. I think giving it a bit more brightness or eliminating the back shadows isn't a thing. However, I do that with most pictures, but not all of them. And I also think it's important to remain consistency. So if you go to your page, they all have the same color backgrounds, and there's not one that stands out to be like uber white or super bright, and then all the rest are dark, for example. And then I'll repeat that on all pictures. The cover photo is always going to be the hardest, because it's the one where the others you can get up close, you can see the color of blue, like you can see the navy in a much more refined light then. So I'll just add quickly, takes 5 seconds. You see what that does? It just adds a bit of something. It blurs the sort of harsh lines of the pedestal or the plinth, but also it doesn't alter anything. It just brightens. It just brightens the highlights. So you're not altering the appearance of the shoe from its natural state. You're just giving it a bit more pizzazz. Does that make sense? And that's how quickly you can do it. Literally 5 seconds. See how that brings out the blue? Right. Anyway, so that's what I do. I think on this case, the blues a little bit more of a tricky customer. I probably wouldn't use the filter on something with a bright tone like this. I would maybe, if it needed to, turn the brightness up a little bit, just because of that shadow I mentioned before. But that's probably about it. Important things to note is that it's in square, so that you can format it across all the apps, all the marketplaces efficiently. eBay, Depop, Vinted, and you'll find that when people use a cross lister like Zipsell, etc., and they've taken portrait pictures and you input that into Depop, your picture will be warped, or you'll cut off the bottom of the trousers, or there'll be something wrong with it because the picture isn't formatted to square. Square is the only picture format that you can do that will carry across all platforms and keep the picture how I'm still recording, how you took it. Does that make sense? I am going to do the clothing in another video because Austin said I talk too much.
I didn't.
You categorically said this is a long video. It's very informational, but it's really long.
To be fair, I only said that when I woke up from my deep sleep.
Do you think I've covered everything for taking a picture on a...
I think I do. I think the clothing one, do part 2 of the clothing one, because once again, that's another whole kind of set of circumstances, right?
Yeah, because there's all different things that I consider with...
And that's different again, that's my point, yeah.
Clothing within labels and stuff.
As
However,
like hard goods.
However, what I didn't mention earlier, which I will mention just really quickly and then I'll go, is when you do say a shoe, for example, jaunty ankle, side, front, top, tips or toes, just to see there's no damage on the toes, back heel, these need a bit of clean, don't look at that, top ridge, because sometimes the elastic can go or there could be fraying on the thing, soles, these have been resold for example, and I would mention that. Any defining feature on the bottom, so I would take a picture of the brand name, I would take a picture of the size, I'd also take a picture of where they're made. In this example, they've also got the material content, which is leather, because sometimes you can't see all the way down the boot, but I will try and take that picture too, just to cover everything. Also, just really quickly describing when it comes to shoes, I know this is a long video, things I always mention when it comes to shoes though, just based on customer experience, is toes, creasing of the toe box or the upper. It's going to naturally happen, but some people like less creasing, don't they? Like trainer people, they don't like a crease on the toe box. Yes, Bethany, yes. Trainer people don't like a crease on the toe box.
Sorry, yeah, I was reading, apologies.
Anywhere to the actual heel, like, because this is impossible to get fixed. Anywhere to the heel in terms of heel drag. If it's been resold, I always mention if it's been resold, it's not necessarily a down point, but I look for nice resoling from a reputable like company or a reputable sole. I know that sounds like a silly thing, but if you've got like a £1,000 pair of boots and they've been redone by, I don't know, Sainsbury's, then it's less appealing if they've been redone by Churches, right?
Correct.
Right, okay. These also leather sole. People like leather sole, so I mentioned it's leather sole. There's loads of different things that I'd mention. Maybe that's another video. Maybe I'm a bit anal. Maybe not. But that's what I do. The important things is when you're using filters, and if you're comfortable using filters and edit tools, that you don't over edit, you don't alter the pictures in any way, shape or form, and that it's simply a tool to highlight and add clarity and uniformitariness. What's that word?
Uniformity.
To that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, like, it's hard to say, like, it sounds like when you use a filter that you're altering the appearance of the product, but you're not, you're just enhancing it, right?
No, but that's also the whole point of the kind of filter you use. It's not like like bringing all the colours up, or which once again does change. And alter for us, ultimately altering the colour of a dress or a boot or whatever. I think it's got to keep the same colour and colour tone. It's going to be lighter.
That's why I don't do pinks, reds or oranges. But I also think the same if I was using like a £7,000 SDR L74, that those colours would be automatically enhanced.
Yeah, I agree.
Correct, Amondos?
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me on this journey of picture taking. Next week, you'll find us in the other room where I take more pictures. Yes, we have multiple rooms.
I can't wait.
Where we take photographs, because photographs are important. We eat with our eyes, we shop with our eyes, we don't go into a shop, we don't go into Marks and Spencer's with our eyes closed or look for the things on the floor. It's true though, isn't it?
It is true.
You maybe look at the models, look at the mannequins, look at the adverts around. You might look how they've styled it. You might look at you might go to a piece because it's hanging there beautifully steamed on the end skew.
Bethany, stop talking.
Take good pictures, kids. I'm relying on you.